Justin, your father called me a year ago, and you know how much your dad loves you. And he said to me, Herman, how many starts do you have in the Xfinity series? So everybody look behind my head right now. NASCAR gave me that. I ended at 547 starts. And when I was redecorating, this area, I had that sitting around for, since 2015. NASCAR gave me that. 2015 was my last NASCAR Xfinity race in Iowa. So I'm at 547 starts, and that's where I ended. And I have the most starts. I have fun with it. I poke them. I'm the mayor. I'm the greatest. Of course, we're poking them, right? So Gator wants you, Justin, to have more starts than me. And I want that too. And when that happens, I'm going to be there. But we got a nemesis. Who's that other kid right there that's going to outrun me too? What's his name again? I forgot.
Jeremy Clement.
Jeremy Clements. Now, there's Jeremy. How is this going to end between both of you? How is this going to end? Is Jeremy Clement? I mean, when you and Jeremy pass me up, man, I just wish I could come congratulate you first. But it sounds to me like Jeremy's going to outrun me. I'm going to congratulate him. Then you're going to outrun Jeremy, and Jeremy's going to have to congratulate you. What do you think?
I think if I'm looking at it, to be honest with you, I think Jeremy's got this one in the bag. To be honest, I'm super proud of how many starts I have. I don't know what the number is currently. I think
482. You have 482 starts.
Yeah, I can't get there. I can't get to your number. Not with where my head's at and what I believe is my.
We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. Keep going.
Jeremy's got to be right around the 500, 505 mark, I would say, pretty easily, because the 2 years that I was in Cup, he was still racing in the Xfinity Series. We started at a similar time, but one of the cool things for me is you talk about full circle moments. I'll never forget. Years and years and years ago, Jeremy Clements was an up-and-coming dirt late model racer, as was I, right? And I don't remember if they were at Cherokee or at Gaffney, but Jeremy was racing a super dirt late model, and he had his hands on the steering wheel. Drive shaft came out, and if you ever shake Jeremy's hand, you'll notice it right away. But the whole inside of Jeremy's hand was ripped out. Right, he had his hand on the wheel. The drive shaft come through the inside of the car, tore out the whole inside of his hand. They were going to cut his hand off.
Oh my!
And his dad begged them not to cut his hand off. And the doctor said, "Well, I can give him 24 hours, 48 hours at the most, and if it's not healing itself, we're gonna have to cut it off." And kind of miraculously, the blood vessels and the way that his hand was damaged, they ended up growing around, and he's had to put a lot of reconstructive surgery into his hand. I know it's been super painful. They actually, at one point, they even sewed his hand inside of his skin. They sewed his hand to his body so that it would allow his hand to heal. And Ed Petroff, somebody that's been around the dirt late model world and sponsored a lot of late model racers, myself included, growing up, and been integral in kind of that St. Louis area. But really, his influence has gone really worldwide. His daughter Michelle called me one day and she said, "Hey," she said, "you and Jeremy are similar in age," and she said he's really struggling. Right, he's not able to be in a race car, and if I send you his number, would you call and talk to him and just up his spirits and just have that conversation?" And so I picked up the phone and I called Jeremy Clements, and really didn't know Jeremy that well, other than we had kept up with each other in the racing world, and both young drivers. I think we were probably both 14 or 15 at the time.
And his father has one of the most famous motor companies in the world, Clements.
Yeah, and I had a Clements engine for my race car, so I was, I mean, they were and still are, honestly. If you talk to anybody now, they're one of about 2 engine builders that everybody is sought after in the dirt late model world. And honestly, I think they build the heads, or they machine the heads for probably majority of the engine builders in the dirt late model industry. But we had a conversation and we became friends, and that friendship has gone for a lot of years. And I remember him, having to make special attachments for his hand to be able to shift gears and all kinds of stuff, once he was able to heal himself up. But
They asked him how they wanted his hand to be, and he said,
like a steering wheel. Does it surprise both of you? What, I've interviewed Jonathan Davenport, Bobby Pierce. I've interviewed some of the greats. You think of Jeremy Clements, and I had no idea you had this relationship with him. Does it surprise you where Jeremy could be running, the greatest dirt super late models in the world? Jeremy Clements could be running for 100,000 to win at Eldora, and yet Jeremy just wants to be in the Xfinity series. Gator or Justin, have you both thought about Jeremy as you two kind of share this most Xfinity starts in common? Why does he run Xfinity when his dad rules the dirt late model world?
I've asked that question 1,000 times. I've asked Jeremy that same question because I don't know. Jeremy's had success. He's a NASCAR Xfinity Series winner. He's been somebody that has had a lot of success on track. Now, I would say of recent times, he's maybe been a little bit more of a struggle than what it was, 5-10 years ago. But they family owned team. He's never driven really for anybody else. He has family in the sport, in the sport of NASCAR outside of the engine building business. But I don't know. I don't know that I've ever understood that part of it.
Can I throw something in there? Jeremy was on the short track to go to Childress with Chevrolet, and then the accident happened. That's when all that happened. But it was planned that they were going to run Jeremy RCR.
I'll be darned. Well, I want to let everybody know that I'm extremely proud when Jeremy breaks my record. I can't wait to go and congratulate him. And now this leads me to this, and this is a serious one, and I think it's fine for me to ask this. I've thought about it. You just gave a small look, Justin. You said, I don't think I'm going to make it to your record. So my mind is thinking right here on Kenny Conversation that you're headed back to Springfield, Illinois to run Hoosier Tire Midwest. I don't know that. Tell me how wrong I am and tell me what's up. Why did you say you don't think you're going to break my record?
That is an opportunity. Yes, 100%. I think about probably closer to 5 years now ago, we made the decision that was the direction I wanted to go and be a part of the business. And I'm a minority owner of the business currently. At some point, I've watched my dad grow this business for my entire life, and there were opportunities for him to sell, and there were opportunities for him to get out. And he's asked me point blank years ago. He said, "Is this something you see yourself doing? Is this something you want to do?" And it's always been 100% yes. 100%. I want to see this business go and grow and carry on the legacy that he's kind of created. Is that tomorrow? No, it's not tomorrow, but
It can
could
be.
be. It could be. But I think for me, I've looked at the ownership side of things a little differently than some. As far as I'm concerned, whether I have ownership or not doesn't really matter. My dad has been the man in charge. My mom and my dad have been the family in charge since day one. I don't have any intention of changing that. And as long as they are willing and able to go to the office, I mean, he's sitting in his desk right now, and he's there most days, right? If he's not there, he's usually traveling to a NASCAR race to be with me. But most days he's in that desk, and there are days that the employees there wish he would be at a NASCAR race. But for the most part, he's sitting there and he's looking at the computer, and he still understands the business very well, and what it takes for that company to be successful. And for me, I've made it very clear to him, I don't want to take any part of your job that you don't want to give away, right? I want you to run this business until the day you decide that, hey, I'm either done, or unfortunately the day that we're putting you in the ground, right? It's one of those is gonna come first. I don't know which one's which, right? But one of them is gonna come first. But I'm also enjoying the moment of being able to spend time with my family and have conversations like we're having right now, and understand my dad's mentality and his work ethic and his, learn from somebody that I respect immensely as far as what he's been able to accomplish. So for me, I still feel like I'm competitive. Obviously, I won a NASCAR Xfinity Series championship last year, not yesterday, last year. Um,
It
it
was
was kind of like
yesterday.
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just I don't know what the long term of that looks like. I feel like for me, my kids are growing up. I'm watching them grow up. I'm watching them get older. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to not be there for it. And I don't know. I still love the sport. I still love what I do. I wouldn't change it for the world. But I also feel like there's a lot of other stuff that I can accomplish in this world outside of being behind the wheel. And I love the younger drivers that are coming up. I've helped quite a few try to be better. I'd love to do more of that. I've had the lucky opportunity to be on the broadcasting side a little bit. You've gone down that path. I really enjoy that. I'm a people person, and I just love people, and I feel like there's still value in this sport, even not being behind the wheel. And so, I don't want to get to a point in my career where the job is telling me that I should have quit. I want to quit before that day comes, and I still feel like I'm young enough and healthy enough to be able to go do something else. I don't know. I just feel like I know this sounds dumb, but I feel like the more I'm doing this and the longer I've gone, the more God's kind of called me to figure out what the next chapter is at some point, and it's probably closer than farther away. And I've always said 40 was my number, and I will be 40 next year. So I'm not calling that a definitive, but I definitely feel like it's kind of where I stand with it.